what do you try to figure out about the demeanor of this suspect? Do you run the plate and find out if he's got priors? What do you know?
Well, first of all, you run the plate, absolutely, and you find out who is, in fact, the driver, and if, in fact, that person is the owner or was the vehicle stolen, reported stolen. Secondly, the investigators and detectives will start working on doing all the intelligence work on that. The interesting part about right now, in this particular case, we're dealing with a pickup truck. Remember, a pickup truck has a very high center of gravity, so if they use a pit maneuver or they use the spike when it goes out of control, it stands a high chance of flipping over. So if they're going to do that, they're going to make sure that the area is in a relatively secluded with less traffic than there is, currently right now, the vehicles.
Yeah. What other challenges exist when he gets into the crowded Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, into the heart of the city?
Heart of the city, we got to remember, number one, we have pedestrians. We have pedestrians crossing streets. We have other vehicles that are, stop-and-go vehicles. He may get caught up in an area where there's a traffic jam and he may decide to take the sidewalk. And, it becomes more dangerous in that particular situation than where he is right now. The interesting and good part is that in today's law enforcement community, we definitely have good communications. And it's a county sheriff area where they're able to locate, notify the highway patrol, notify the local law enforcement and the state and other counties. So there's good communications with it.
I can't tell for sure, Wally, if you can watch a picture with me, whether it looks like any of those tires are slowly going down, but it looked like about 5 minutes ago they made an attempt to disable the vehicle by throwing out what are called spike strips in an area which looked like it was there was almost no traffic there. It does look like that left rear tire may be low, but that's just a guess. Again, this has been going on for more than an hour. I'm sorry, Wally, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, he is doing a high rate of speed, and if you notice, just when we started to talk about the spike strip, there was a police car, a marked car, that did get up ahead of him, which means that they're probably getting ready to consider a maneuver or move some of the traffic that's on the express lanes out of the way to the right side of the highway for safety reasons.
We are getting, Wally, stand by for a minute, we are getting some more information that we're definitely confirming. We had heard that maybe the driver had assaulted a police officer. Here is what we know now. Officials are saying this whole thing started as a gas drive-off in the Van Alstyne area. Officials with the Collin County Sheriff's Office say as the suspect was being pursued, the person tried to run over a law enforcement officer. So, Wally, I asked Steve this, but I want to ask you again, just for people who are just now tuning in here. When you talk about the charges that are piling up, not only from possibly trying to run over a law enforcement officer, but now evading police here, what are we talking about?
Well, we're talking about, first of all, if we take it from square one, we're talking about petty larceny. We're talking about reckless endangerment. We're talking about attempted assault on a police officer. We're also now talking about the vehicle and traffic laws, which are violations. But we're also talking that the attempted assault or assault on that officer raises that up to a much higher level for the prosecution. Also, the downside to the whole thing is if he got caught when he just completed filling up his gas tank, he's got a lot of mileage to go.
Yeah, no kidding. He can go several hundred miles on a Ford F-150. Okay, high center of gravity. What are the challenges with a pit maneuver? You began to explain it, but I may have kind of tuned it out. He would be more prone to flip over then?
Very, just much higher chance of flipping over because all the weight is on the top, and once the maneuver starts, you lose the center of gravity. And depending on what side they hit him, if they hit him on the right side, then he'll land up probably flipping on the left side. Yep. So it is dangerous. I've seen a few of those situations in my career where trucks, pickup trucks, vans especially, they have a high center of gravity and they flip much easier than a low-centered car.
Is the fact that he's proceeding in the same direction on the same freeway, not doing any particularly erratic moves, does that change the protocol in the chase?
Well, you know what? It gives them, a better idea and a better tack planning of the next maneuvers that they want to do later on. If he continues to stay now in that center lane, they can do the pit maneuver, or they can maybe know that they can put the spike strip in that particular location. As we spoke earlier, there was a car that sped up, so maybe they are anticipating in a less congested area to have a spike strip out on that particular lane already. So he makes contact with it.
Now, in a lot of metro areas, there are great big signs, digital signs that indicate to, traffic problems ahead. Might some of them now be reading chase in progress, move over to the side?
Sure, they have that capability. When we have an Amber Alert, you'll see it on all those signs, Amber Alert, and with the information. Same thing. Today's technology with the communications that we have today, and it just works out perfectly in that particular situation. Also, keep in mind, we also have the old CB radios that the truckers have, and they use that a lot to notify truckers that there is a police pursuit in progress and give them a description. And truckers do work hand in hand with law enforcement.
Do you think someone would sort of try to cowboy up and wedge him in?
Sometimes that happens. We do have some, people like that.
It is Texas.
It is Texas.
Yeah, it's ill-advised, obviously, but I guess sometimes it happens. They're not just in Texas either. Let's be honest.
It's true, but the most important thing, safety is paramount. He's at a high rate of speed. There's no question about it. He's on a highway, which is a positive thing versus city streets. And eventually, the greatest thing in law enforcement is time is always on our side in a situation like this, in a hostage situation. You make more headway with the situation where you have time on your side. Keep in mind also, it's up to the supervisors. In chases today, there are many bad accidents where police officers, especially let's take New York City where I am, we have a procedure that we follow that it's up to the supervisor. If we have a person in a police chase where it's for a vehicle and we have the license plate, the supervisor will call off that chase unless there was deadly physical force or a felon or some major crime that took place. We would continue it. And also we use our aviation units a lot. As we have the aviation, it stands a better chance of staying with the vehicle than going on the pursuit. So it's up to the supervisor. There goes another car, police car passing.
Wally, stand by for us. We're just now at the top of the hour here. I want to just recap for people watching and wondering what in the world we're looking at. This is a breaking story. At Dallas County, Texas, this police chase underway. You're looking at live pictures thanks to our CBS affiliate there. Several patrol cars, I counted something like 8 or 9 from the Howell Police Department, chasing behind this gray pickup truck. The chase has been going on for about an hour now. We're talking Texas time, started around 11 a.m. North Collin County, moving westbound on 635 toward the Addison area. Officials say the incident began when the suspect behind the wheel of his truck tried to drive away from a gas station without paying. That's how this whole thing started. The Collin County Sheriff's Office says as the suspect was being pursued, he or she tried to run over a law enforcement officer. So at some point near Loop 12 and Interstate 45, we saw some of the officers throwing out stop sticks, trying to get the driver to pull over, trying to maybe flatten out some of these tires. But as we can see, this car is still flying on. The attempt failed. We've been talking to former NYPD Supervisor Wally Zines. He's been talking to us on the phone, watching this with us. And Wally, how fast? I mean, it's kind of, I guess, impossible to tell, but we can tell this car is flying by the other cars. We know, what are we, 90-plus miles an hour?
I would say he's over 75 miles per hour, considering that the speed limit there in Texas is about 60 miles per hour. And he is moving. He's at a high rate of speed. And, as I said earlier, it's better that he's on that straight path than going in and out of, the city streets. And again, keep in mind, soon schools will be getting out for lunch. More people will be getting out of their offices for lunch. So it's real important that, they keep him contained right now in this area.
Sorry we lost picture there, but we got it back. And this is a gray F-150 Ford pickup truck, driver being sought. He's now, or she is now southbound on Interstate 45, and as we indicated earlier, heading right into the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, population 6 million. But it is the noon hour. It could be worse. It could be rush hour. It is not. It looks like a fairly dry pavement, although I think I saw a little bit of moisture on the pavement a little bit earlier. An attempt to disable the vehicle, throwing out spike strips to deflate those tires, may or may not have worked. It's a process that takes, obviously several miles for it to take full effect. He had been going at high